Lord of the universe. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, the most gracious, the most merciful. Maliki Yawmiddin, master of the day of judgment. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Thee alone, O Allah, O God, do we worship, and Thee alone do we seek for help. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Guide us onto the straight path. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim, the path of those on whom your favor is. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين, not the path of those on whom your anger is, nor the path of those who have gone astray. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And good afternoon and hello to our non-Muslim friends who are present here today. My name is Maulana Sabri Davids, and I will be your MC or program director, if you will, for the entire event. If you need anything, come to me. If you need money, come to the mayor. Okay. Immediately I'm going to ask one of our ulama or our priests from the Athlone region to open the proceedings for us with a prayer. And of course, to our non-Muslim friends, our prayers are primarily in the Arabic language, and as far as we can, we will translate for you. Thank you.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the beneficent, the merciful, the master on the day of judgment. Thee alone do we worship and Thee alone do we ask for help. Guide us on the straight path, the path of those whom Thou hast favored, and not the path of those who earn Thine anger, and nor of those who go astray. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Peace and blessings on the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his family, his friends, and all those who follow him. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon. Goeiemiddag. Onweni. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the opportunity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a month of Ramadan. The Honorable President of the MJC, Syed Irfan Abrams, our Honorable Mayor of Cape Town, Geordin Hill-Lewis, our executive members of the city of Cape Town, the members of the MJC, our Honorable Mr. Kavasi. Today, we welcome thee on this auspicious occasion, and all those from the medical fraternity, the emergency service respondents, the firemen, police officers, everyone else. It is indeed for us a great honor to welcome each and every one of you on this auspicious occasion. Today we gather here and reflect on the sacrifices made by those brave people who fought for our political freedom. 28 years ago went by with a blink of an eye, and albeit there are challenges that we still face today. Gatherings like this just rejuvenates the hope that we have a much better tomorrow. We can gather in a collection of religious, races, cultures, and ideologies and share a meal together. Our country and beautiful city has been blessed with an incredible amount of beauty, and I pray that this gathering can be the way forward for us to bless a better tomorrow. I thank you. Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا وسندنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم اجعل جمعنا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل فينا ولا منا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم ادفع عنا البلاء والوباء والربا والزنا والزلازل والمحن وسوء الفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن. Oh Allah, we ask Thee to guide our country. We ask Thee, Ya Allah, to make this gathering a gathering of Thy mercy, filled with blessings. And if we disperse, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings stay with us. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, protect our service men and women. Oh Allah, protect all of us. And Allah, grant us that the calamities that is within our country and right across the world, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lift it, inshallah, in the near future for us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant that the usury in our country, in our beloved country, the crime, the violence against women, and everything of bad is raised from our country. We ask it not because we deserve it, we ask it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
MashaAllah, we say shukran. Thank you very much to Sheikh Ibrahim Flores for that beautiful opening dua and that beautiful welcoming. And one particular part of Sheikh's speech has caught my ear. He said that this beautiful city, and we have many beautiful things in the city. And for a moment there, I thought he was speaking about me when he said beautiful things. Look at this face. Well, not much further ado, we are pressed for time. According to my watch, we are at least 3 minutes behind time, behind schedule. There's a host of items that need to be delivered. We are going to remind our speakers to kindly stick to their time allocated to them, but at the same time, we do not want to curtail anyone. And so therefore, we're going to go through the entire program with you very briefly. We're going to have the president of the MJC addressing us. We're going to have an introduction by the first deputy president. We're going to have a tribute by the second deputy president. We're going to have an address by the honorable mayor. He's going to lay out how much each one is going to get in the new packages the end of this Ramadan. He's going to give you all that information and how much they're going to deduct from that tax. So the package is going to come at 93%, I think he mentioned earlier, going for taxes, and then the others is going to ESCOM. So that's the mayor's word. Please don't keep me to it. Having said that, and then we have a special guest, and I'm not going to disclose as yet who that special guest is. I can tell you that that special guest was a desire and a hope of many of this particular task team. It was a prayer almost, and through the fadl and the grace of Allah and Allah alone, God Almighty alone, we were happy to have received news of the special surprise. We're not going to disclose as yet. We like to keep people in suspense, like the DA and like the ANC is doing all the time with us. And ESCOM is just added to that, and the airlines as well. So having said that, I'm immediately going to call upon Abdul Khaliq Ali, the first deputy president of the MJC. This is Maulana's second term in the office, as in the position of first deputy president. I do want to say that Maulana is an ocean of wisdom, and indeed he is a pillar of support, and indeed he stands behind you as a motivation. I ask Maulana Abdul Khaliq Ali to do the introduction to our event and the general few words of encouragement.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To His Excellency, the Mayor Geordin Hill, to the councillors who are here, to our Honorable President and Deputy President, our Secretary General that assumes the position of a photographer, to our distinguished guests. All thanks and praises are due to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we send our salutations and greetings upon all the prophets of Allah and on the final messenger of Allah, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. COVID-19 brought many lessons to us. For such a global phenomenon to have taken place and to be placed somewhere that it has happened, it is perhaps not the correct thing to do, but rather, as the years goes forward, COVID-19 must continuously be reflected upon. The gathering here today is a culmination of the thought of the Muslim Judicial Council last year, in conjunction with some of your members, Mr. Rashad and Mr. Ismail specifically, if I will allow me to speak about them, to say, how do we acknowledge the frontliners? This terminology was really well used in 2020 and 2021. And aptly so, we as a leadership of the Muslim Judicial Council agreed that we owe it, and it is our obligation and it's our duty to acknowledge all frontlines. When we thought for a moment that only the medical fraternity were the frontliners, then the reality is it goes further and beyond that. You are the frontliners. Today, the Muslim Judicial Council acknowledges your contribution to the workable city, the city of Cape Town, and would like to say thank you to you. This must become a standing feature for the Muslim Judicial Council. And we are extremely grateful that the Mayor is here to share our iftar with us, as well as our councillor, with whom we've worked very closely. The city of Cape Town is our city. We have a duty and responsibility towards the city, towards the people that lives in the city, towards the province. The Muslim Judicial Council in our 77th year of establishment. We have a duty and responsibility to contribute towards the development of our community and our society and our people. And so when we have gathered here, it is to say to you, our brothers and our sisters serving our people in our community, to say that we have a greater purpose beyond the duty and responsibility that you have, and it is towards Almighty Allah. That how Allah be pleased with you representing Islam as a religion, you representing Islam as showcasing our amanahs Allah, fulfilling our responsibility with diligence, with commitment, with excellence, because that is what Allah expects from you. Today we are very, very proud of you, and we'd like to say thank you to you. Let the city and we as the leadership of the Muslim community look up to you to be doing your best in serving our people on the ground. We pray that Allah bless this gathering. We're extremely grateful. I know the smell of the samosas gaat ons 'n kwasa bietjie waterig maak, maar ons moet maar byt en vas. En vir die nuwe Muslim gemeente, ek wil nie nou sê u kan maar solank enige gaan neem agter die. U moet maar soos ons sê bietjie sabber hê inshallah saam met die Muslim gemeente, en ons is baie dankbaar vir die feit dat u hier saam met ons is. Please enjoy this moments, make it special, make it count for us, and let it be a showcase of we South Africans standing and working together for a better country on this Freedom Day. Thank you.
Ons kan maar aan die klop. Say thank you for Maulana Abdul Khalik Ali for those inspirational words. And I think the fact that he's alluded and mentioned that we have non-Muslims amongst us, and he's alluded that we have a responsibility. Never ever should religion make a difference when it comes to citizenship, when it comes to loyalty. Religion should never play a role. And so I'm glad he highlighted that point, and may we all in our hearts that together we are all sovereigns. We thank him for that beautiful, inspirational few words. Immediately, it is my pleasure to call upon the second Deputy President Sheikh Riyad Fattar, who is also his second term in his office. Sheikh is a very involved man, has close working relationships with the City of Cape Town on at least a few fronts. The front that comes to mind immediately is with regards to the cemeteries, where there's an excellent working relationship between the office of Sheikh Riyad Fattar and the City of Cape Town. There are other fronts as well. I immediately ask for Sheikh Riyad to address us and pay tribute to our uniformed servicemen and women. Shukran, Sheikh Riyad.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته and a warm welcome to all of our friends here today. Let me start with the protocol. Our President, Sheikh Rafat Abrams, our Mayor, and you do note that I said our Mayor, because we consider, like Maulana Abdul Khali, Maulana Sabri said, that we are all part of this Western Cape, and we are all the citizens. So our Mayor, Mr. Geordin Hill, my close friend, and I must tell you, I made a mistake, but his name is Nagarashi. And every time I call him in the MDC Kawasaki. And then I heard it's Nagasaki. So at the end of the day, our close relationship with Maulana Aslam as a counselor, Maulana Khatib, our MC, our Amir. Amir means he is the main guy. You know, our Amir from the Athlone suburbs. Everybody, you know, we sit in positions, and Maulana Abdul Khalik used the word amana. We have a trust that people has put in us. We prayed and we made dua and we studied and we wanted to be whatever we wanted to be where you are now. So people have placed their trust in you and in me and in the mayor and our president and everybody, the councillors. We all have opportunity of trust. But you know, becomes easier and more powerful when we work together with one another like this. When the city speaks with one voice. When we sit here and you see Muslim, Christian, whatever the case may be, this is South Africa. And we should not allow that to be changed. But the thing that I want to come to, is an ayah that I always mention in the Holy Quran, because this is what I see in front of me, and allow me to say that verse in Arabic as we know it is Surah Al-Ma'idah. It is ayah number 2. Allah Ta'ala says, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. That you work and you cooperate with one another in that which will bring goodness and will bring piety, and don't work together and cooperate with one another in that which is a sin and will create enmity. Everybody, this verse calls that we support one another. It calls for that we join hands in helping where help is needed. It calls for us in our position of amana, of trust. Because remember this, today you can be there, tomorrow Allah can remove you. And you sit at home and think, where am I now? So look after the position of trust that you have been put in. Because this community will act as one unit and feel the support and the solidarity when the people that they expect, that are in trust, that are looking after them, are the ones that are working in unison and in unity with one another. And you that are here, your honorable selves in the uniforms that you represent here, you are the leaders in that. Allah, God Almighty, has chosen you to be the person that when you come to a scene, when you come to a patient, when you come to a situation, the first face that that person that is in dire need see is your face. God has placed you there. Allah has placed you there. It is a position of trust, it is a position of amana. Remember, in action, God doesn't love that. Allah doesn't want inaction. Allah doesn't want you to sit back and a situation but deteriorate until we decide that we are going to do something. You know what I tell my children at night, or what I used to tell them, is when you have worked for the day, tonight when you put your head on that pillow, you say, I worked for every cent, oh God. I work for every cent, Ya Allah, that I can put my head down on the pillow for what I have received. In a very short surah in the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Ma'un, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. What does that mean? ويمنعون الماعون. This word al-ma'un in the Holy Quran explains the ulama of tafsir, and that is that you prevent somebody from getting whatever good you're supposed to help them with. We cannot be people like that. We experience that. The Sheikh spoke about the apartheid times. Some of us have come from there. Today, if somebody is in trouble, whether you are going to be white or black or colored or whatever color, this is a community that helps you without looking at anything like that. This is you know how we got there? Because we lived in harmony with one another. Ons is die mense wat saam athletics gehardloop het. Ons is die mense wat almal saam sokker gespeel het. Ons is die mense wat almal saam in al die different sports and activities participeer het. Daar was een kronk gewees in my matriek. Wait, I must tell you. When I got to matric, I had an Afrikaans teacher. And he came into the class and he says, dis die eerste keer en hy's 'n mannetjie van die plaas gewees. So hy kom in die town en so aan en hy sê, mense, hierdie klas bars in sy nate. What I'm trying to say with that is how we were all together. No difference. That is how we were all together. So a person that prevents somebody else from getting something because based on anything in a racialistic manner, you're far away from God, man. You're far away from God. Any person that puts pressure on a person to give something that he needs or she needs at that time, you're far away from God. That is what the ayah means. You are the ones that I need. Do you know? And by the way, I can associate with the people in the emergency services, especially when we went through COVID-19. Yeah, Maulana Sabri speak about all the different people that we contacted, the nurses I can associate with you. I have a wife that's been in nursing for over 30 years. And the SAPS people that we regularly have contact with and all of the emergency service, I want to tell you something from myself. When I see that you speed past my car to an accident, or the police on their way to some crime, or a nurse running for a patient and emergency services, this is me. I say, Ya Allah, protect them. Ya Allah, put your hand of protection on them because I don't know where they're going. They have families, Ya Allah, they have children. Ya Allah, grant them safety. That I do all the time because we appreciate what you do. You are no ordinary people, you are special people. Mense, nou het ons op 'n baie serious noot gaan, but ons moet eindig op 'n light note, né? So Allah vir my goue hoe sê jy, icebreaker manne, then I will wrap up, inshallah. An icebreaker. You know, die twee Johnny en sy maat, hulle is by die this mental facility, you know. So hulle sit buitekant en hulle dink, is dit baie boring hier so in die plek, joh. En hy sê vir en Johnny sê vir sy vriend daar so, man, ek sê vir wat, kom ons speel winkel. Ek sê, ja, nee, okay. Dan wees Jerry by en ek sal wees die customer. Hy sê, okay, right. Hulle het 'n boks daar, so ek sê die boks daar neer, en ek kom en sê, by, gee my 'n liter melk en 'n halwe brood, die by sê, kan jy nie in die lyn gaan staan nie. Staan in die lyn. Hy vat so maar sê, winkel, staan maar in die lyn. So hy gaan so 'n paar tree terug, en dan kom jy voor en sê, by, 'n liter melk en 'n halwe brood, het ek vir jou gesê, nie staan in die lyn. Hy gaan maar nog 'n 10 steps terug. En hy kom weer by die plek. By, liter melk en 'n halwe brood, en die by was klaar, en hy klap hom daar so. Het ek jou nie gesê, staan in die lyn, nie gaan agter in die lyn in. Sy my daar gaat hy sit op die grond en hy heel. Daar kom hy by na hom toe. Sê, Johnny, wat maak jy, man? En hy heel. Wat maak jy, man? Hy sê, iemand het my geklap, man. Wie het jou geklap? Ek weet nie, die winkel was vol. Thank you, everybody. Assalamu alaikum.
Indeed, we thank Sheikh Riyad Fattar for taking us through some very important thoughts and then ending it off on a very light note. It is now a very big privilege and honor to call upon the President of the MJC to address us. And of course, a gentle reminder to all of us that we are pressed for time. We have the man of the moment also, the Honorable Mayor, who is going to address us, as well as the Dhikr, which is the highlight of the day, the Dhikr, which we will explain to our non-Muslim attendants later. So immediately we're going to call upon Sheikh Irfan Abrams to address us. This is Sheikh Irfan's second term in the office as president. We ask Allah, we ask God Almighty to guide him, to give him the wisdom, to give him the strength, and to give him the endurance to lead us with strength, inshallah. Immediately, Sheikh Irfan Abrams, we can give Sheikh a round of applause, inshallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious and merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And a good day to all of non-Muslims. First, I would like to acknowledge and say to our Honorable Mayor, Geordin Hill-Lewis. So when you met us at the MGC chambers, you made a great impact on myself. You really changed my mind and my mindset. The wise words you said, and the confidence you had, the confidence you addressed us. And I saw in you leadership. And I'm sure those who sit here, all your departments, can vouch for that, because they work under you and they see you regularly. I want to thank you, sir, for the good leadership. I thank you, sir, for your vision that you have for the Western Cape. I admire you, and I wish you all the success.
With regards to MJC, the MJC was established on the 10th of February 1945. And many years ago more. I think all of us weren't born yet when the MJC was formed. Where did it happen? It happened in the cathedral hall in Cape Town, in Queen Victoria Road in Cape Town. They were there. And the two played a very important role in that was Dr. Abraham of Woodstock and Mr. Ali of Abibia Primary. They were the two academics who called the ulama together, leadership together, and said we need to establish a body and will see to all the needs of the Muslim community. That happened, and in March 1945, there was a well-attended gathering of all leaders and community members where the constitution was read and accepted. The public was informed of the founding and the establishment of the MJC. So they give a brief idea of where we are, where we were, where we are today. Today we have the MJC that functions under 20 departments, desks and forums. A person once from one of the Arab countries came and asked our Qadi, previous Qadi, Sheikh Muhammad Amin Fakir, Sheikh, what's the role of your leadership, of the ulama, of your religious leaders in your community? And he says, we serve from birth to death. We serve from birth to death. Give you an idea, if a woman gives birth, the first they call the religious leader to make the necessary for a newborn baby. And right through your life, in any department of life you are in need of, the MJ called upon. All your religious leaders are called upon. To yourself. If it's a wedding, if it's an engagement, if it's whatever it may be, they call the imam, they call the sheikh, they call the maulana to make a dua down. Then all develop a good relationship between the ulama, the MJC in this community. So when people laugh, we laugh with him. When they cry, we cry with him. We share the moments with him. I think Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman of Geordin, can we put our hands together for him? Can we give a standing ovation, please?
Takbir! 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 Viva Dr. Sooliman, viva! MashaAllah.
So today is a very special day for us to acknowledge all uniformed servicemen and women for the consistent contribution to our community, to make the community ease and to work towards a better society. So the MJC then has played a major role since that time until today to guide our people on the path of righteousness. As many as mentioned, with the amanat that we undertook, but the responsibilities undertook, the responsibility of fairness and justice, and work towards the development of communities. So the MJC has walked many paths. The MJC has walked through deep waters and steered the ship in stormy waters. The MJC has over the ages, over the years and decades, the MJC played a role for our Muslim community. When disasters take place, you'll find as a community out there, the community are there before even the city arrived for the community there. All ready to serve, all ready to help, all ready to support. And I want to say, Dr. Sooliman, welcome. They organize also, wherever the need is there, the men are there, the women are there to give their service to the community, irrespective of our Muslim Christians. We serve the community. We serve our people. Our people are the Muslims. This community made up of Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Jew, wherever they are part of our community. It's our country, it's our people, we need to take care of them. And the mother of this excellency was very important thing to mention. In this month, it was a habit part of ours. She has a small plate of bolas, pancake, neighbors. That's a norm in our country, in our community. And we also not forget to send our Christian neighbors. Always a good neighbor of Christian neighbors. There was no problem with it. There never was a problem. And there will never be a problem. And the relationship of the embassy is to bring our communities together to live as one community. So, I want to thank you once again, because this event is to praise the uniform servicemen and women, to thank them for their services, their render to our community on a continuous basis. We at the end of the express our gratitude and our respect. Even though some get it over the red logo, but we did it, so we accept the. I'm not going to make any comments on that. I'm just saying, by the way. And one day, I was an imam of this area, Mr. Geordin. I was an imam for almost 40 years in this community. So I came one morning, I went out, I came back, early morning, as it was attempted robbery. And I came to this officer, and they called the car, they got the car, 2 cars, they got the car. I asked him, so they have your name, please. I was kicked from behind and fell on my back. Then he put the cuffs in my hand and locked me up in Manuel police station. That's how they call it the pizza boys. The pizza boys. And he looked like an Indian guy from Durban. So I noted that. We went to court. I was locked for a few hours. I think the attendant get me out. And went to court, never picked up the court. He never came and he dropped the case. But I'm saying sometimes you have that kind of personality amongst you. But we shouldn't allow that to happen. Because every human being has a right. And you have no right to go over the right of a human being. And for that I say, with respect to the work that you are doing, even though you leave the house, there's no guarantee that you will return alive to your family tonight. And I'm telling you here, that the ambulance will be robbed and hijacked. I'm telling you here that. With the video protection, who will protect you, who will assist you. And you know, sometimes I think, I never want to get involved in an accident. I never want to be in an accident. You know why? Whoever comes to help you, rob you first. Then give you a pocket for your wallet and whatever bag there is, and they run away with it. I said, Ya Allah, I need to be there to protect me. But this is how life is. We always need to be alert of what dangers affect individuals. But being as it is made, the MGC will play the role in cooperating very beautifully with local government. So they are adapting with the government of the country, of the province. So we respect them. And then we have Mullah Bukhari and Sheikh Riyad. The other people who handle with all the government officers, local government and national government. We intact with him. And we have a good working relationship with him. We don't favor undone things, so everything is legal and correct. And I want to say to you, as a president of the MJC, I have a policy. Those who came before me had a different policy, and those who came on will also have a different policy. My policy is, anybody who come and see me, you don't need an appointment. If I'm available, I'm not busy, I'm free, by all means you come and see me. So one day, a lady phoned me in the share. I always remind the time to run out. Other people told nobody has been reminded the time to run out. It's unfair of the MC to do that. I won't go through on this. So, the lady phoned. She cries. She said, "Auntie, what's wrong?" She said, "I can make an appointment with you." And who said that? I could call the president immediately in my office. You just said, I called the lady also in. Did you tell the lady that this and that? Yes, Sheikh. Why? Did I not tell you how many times whoever to come and see me is I prepared to wait if I'm busy? Don't send anybody away. That lady came to my office. She didn't have a cent to go home with. She had no money. Come to with another problem, and she had to walk to Bella. She said, don't ever do that. Whoever wants to come and see me, allow them to be prepared to wait. Don't turn any person around away from my office. That's my policy. So anybody, anything I can do for you, the first knock is in my office. You're welcome to come and see me for any problem, whatever it may be. Now I will see you, inshallah. May Allah bless this day with goodness. I'm very honored to be with our honorable mayor. I'm sure you enjoy working under him. He's a man of good principles. I didn't meet him at that level yet, but to say to you, what I heard from him, he's a man of good principle, and a man comes and leading something like that, he can only guide it with the rights and good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And they shall be exposed. The president was in jail. Think about this. He can tell us that was what it was for. We will never know. It is now my very big privilege and honor to ask the Mayor of Cape Town, His Honorable Geordin Hill-Lewis. And I want to say this, internally we had to advertise and we had to come up with posters to announce the presence of the Mayor. And one of the posters that we came up, and it was, I promise you, Mr. Mayor, and I apologize for my back, I promise you, it was very, very accidental. It was a typo, they call it a typo, typing error. The person wrote, Geordin Hill-Lewis. For real, I'm not lying to you, this happened for real. But today we are here and we give a warm round of applause for the Honorable Mayor of Cape Town. And again, I'm going to play fair. This is my playpen. I get to make the rules. So I have stepped up to the president and asked him, your time is up.
Thank you very much. I will try to be disciplined. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Goeiemiddag. Mweli. I hope that everyone has had a very blessed fast so far, that it has been a time of wonderful family and spiritual contemplation. It's been a great time for Cape Town. But before I get to that, I want to thank very much the leadership of the MJC, President Abrams, and Deputy President 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've heard of many Deputy Presidents here this evening. But all of your leadership. I want to say, Mr. President, Sheikh Abrams, that thank you very much for the kind words that you said. And I mean this genuinely from the bottom of my heart. The feeling is completely mutual. Ever since I've met you and your leadership team, even though it's only been 6 months now that I've been the mayor, I really feel so loved, I think that's the right word, and that we have a warm partnership, that we work well together, that we have genuine cooperation among friends and fellow Cape Townians. That's how I feel about my relationship with the MJC. So thank you so much for your wisdom, for your occasional WhatsApps of support, particularly from the Deputy President. The phone calls, it really means a lot to me from the bottom of my heart. And then obviously our special guests today, our men and women in uniform in the city of Cape Town. My heart really bursts with pride when I see the work that you all do for our city and in our city on a daily basis. When the nation was reeling from the tragedy in KZN, we had a disaster management and search and rescue and fire team that was there. Are any of those members here today that traveled to Durban? We had 12 of them go. They did incredible work. Yesterday, I got a call from the mayor of eThekwini to give his sincere thanks for what Cape Town offered. Without any questions asked, immediately, within 24 hours, our guys were there. And ladies were there. And here we've got Metro EMS, we've got disaster management, we've got fire and rescue, we've got law enforcement, we've got Metro Police, we've got traffic, we've got nurses, we've got, I hope I'm not missing, we've got SANDF, I see, we've got SAPS. Is there anyone that I'm missing? I see paramedics, I see nurses, there may be doctors here. Every one of you plays a critical role in making this a much, much better city. And let me tell you, sometimes the mayor gets a lot of the limelight and gets to speak on stage like today, but I never forget who really makes this city work, and it is you, ladies and gentlemen. It is you. So now I want us, every single person in uniform, to stand up, even if you came and you're part of the uniform service and you're not in uniform today, and you came here to this special service. Please stand up so that we can honor you because of what you do for Cape Town. Thank you so much for what you do, each and every one of you. Let me say, since I was elected mayor, it's only 6 months now, but I've been speaking a lot about the concept of civic pride, love for our city. The idea that this is not just a place where there are houses and streets and grass and mountains, but this is our home. And it is a place that we have to demonstrate pride in and care for and love for. And that manifests itself in lots of different ways. It manifests itself in picking up the litter. If you've seen, I'm a little bit obsessed, maybe unhealthily so, about picking up the litter, because I want our city to be a place that people can feel proud of, that can feel it's clean and healthy to grow up in. But it's also about just obeying the rules of the road and helping out one another when someone is in need. It's about taking pride in our jobs and doing it to the best of our ability, no matter what our jobs are. If we are part of our solid waste team, collecting dustbins, whether you are working in finance in the city, sorting out tenders, make sure that that is clean, that there is no corruption in Cape Town. That if that driver, I see our guys from traffic, those naughty drivers who think they can get away with things because they flash a bit of cash, not in Cape Town. That's the difference in our city. If we develop that sense of pride and love for Cape Town. And I've been speaking a lot about that. But here, you know, in Christianity, we have this phrase, there must be a similar phrase, President. We say we are preaching to the choir. Is there such a thing? We're preaching to the choir. Because these are the people that build that sense of pride in Cape Town. So thank you for always going the extra mile in service to our citizens. Thank you for taking ownership and pride in your work, for always serving before you expect to be served. That is the kind of spirit that we want to build in our city. Now, let me say something about the fact that we are just days away now from the sighting of the moon, from the end of Ramadan. Our Christian community has also celebrated Lent and Easter. Our Jewish community has also celebrated Passover. All of the Abrahamic faiths in our city have been celebrating together this last month. And it has really demonstrated the very best of Cape Town and South Africa in honoring our wonderful cultural, religious, spiritual, historical diversity. And I must just tell you one funny story. In my house, we celebrate Lent. And Lent is the 40 days of fasting that we do before leading up to Easter. And we don't do a full fast. We just have to give up one thing. And the idea is that you have to give up something that you really love, that you struggle with. I'm going to give up him next Lent. Can I get a law enforcement officer up here, please? They stoked. My daughter, my 6-year-old daughter said to me, Daddy, she's going to give up moaning. I said, that's a very good idea. Moaning. She's going to give up moaning for Lent. I promise you it lasted 3 days. Now, let me say what a pleasure it is to be here to celebrate this special occasion with you and to stand for what we are trying to build in Cape Town. And I want to end, you'll be pleased to know, by just linking on with something the President said in his final words. Every single human being in Cape Town has got unbelievable moral worth, potential, value. And if we can try to build a city that respects that, it doesn't matter how poor you are, how rough your background is, where you live, what you look like, how you were born, it doesn't matter. You are just as deserving of respect, of dignity, of good services, of clean government as any other person, your neighbor next to you, or anyone else in our city. That is the kind of city that we're trying to build. And I'm so proud to be able to do that in partnership with the 77-year-old MJC. I heard for the first time today that this is your 77th year. So as we celebrate the 28th year of our country on this Freedom Day, let's recommit ourselves here in Cape Town that we're going to build a city that shows that every single person is valued and valuable. Every single person is respected and respectable. That is the city that we want, and that is what we are going to try and build. Thank you very much, and God bless.
It will be heartwarming to Sheikh Irfan to note that I have played fairly. So, Mr. Maya, I was just merely protecting my job. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got 2 more items on the agenda, so to speak, before we start. To building up towards Maghrib, to our non-Muslim attendants, Maghrib is the dusk prayer, sunset prayer, and that is the time when we break our fast. It is a tremendous honor and a tremendous privilege to even be in the presence of our next guest, who was still till late last night in Tongaat. And that is just one example of the many, many things that he has been doing for this country. On social media, people have felt that give the presidency to Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman. And I'm sure and I think Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman gets the message. You are the hero of many, Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman. You are the hero of many. You are the envy of many. And you are the inspiration to many. I don't want to, the list goes on. I don't want to take too much of time, but it is an honor and a privilege to ask the honorable, the beloved, the revered Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman to address us at this particular gathering, Dr. Sooliman.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hi. When I'm speaking, I don't expect you to come to the front, okay? Jazakallah very much for that. Thank you. This is the Iftar and all the other deputy presidents of the MJC. We were at a dinner last year together. Thank you very much for your regular invites. Thank you very much for honoring the mayor. We really appreciate you coming to his Muslim function at prayer time. And this is the kind of tradition that we need, where we respect each other, irrespective of religion. We appreciate each other. We learn from each other. And I'm very, very happy that the MJC has decided to honor and recognize the people that come from the emergency services. People have asked me to be president. People feel inspired by what I do. But I need to give you a story that's important about how we build relationships, how we build a country, and how we go forward. It was the 6th of August, 1992, on a Thursday night. I was in Turkey in Istanbul. I met a spiritual teacher. I met him the year before and I went back the following year. At 10 p.m. after a zikr program, for those who don't know, is a celebration of God Almighty's names. He looks me in the eye, and the message I'm giving you is very spiritual. It applies to all our lives. It doesn't matter what religion you belong to. Spirituality encompasses all religion, even for people who don't believe. It encompasses everybody. He looks me in the eye and he looks heavenwards at the same time. And he says in fluent Turkish, "My son, I'm not asking you. I'm instructing you to form an organization." Gift of the Givers wasn't my idea. It wasn't my thought processes. I didn't get up one morning and said, I need to form an organization. It's a spiritual instruction that came from a spiritual teacher. I'm asking you to form an organization. The name in Arabic will be Waqful Waqifin. Translated, Gift of the Givers. You will serve all people of all races, of all religions, all colors, all classes, all cultures, of any geographical location and of any political affiliation. But you will serve them unconditionally. You will expect nothing in return, not even a thank you. In fact, in what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life, expect to get a kick up your back. If you don't get a kick up your back, regard it as a bonus. Serve people with love, kindness, compassion, and mercy. And remember, the dignity of man is foremost. So if somebody is down in the ground, don't push them down further. Hold them, elevate them. Caress the head of an orphan. Wipe the tear of a grieving child. Say words of good counsel to a widow. These things are free. They don't cost anything. Clothe the naked, feed the hungry, and provide water to the thirsty. And in everything that you do, be the best at what you do. Not because of ego, but because you're dealing with human life, human emotion, and human dignity. Repeat it. This is an instruction for you for the rest of your life. And the most final, most important instruction of all. Whatever you do is done through you and not by you. Whatever you see are not my achievements. It's basically something done through me, because I'm not capable of doing what is done. It's a spiritual gift. Things are put in your place, and it started. The whole mission was a spiritual mission. An Afrikaner guy moved to Maritzburg in January 1986. I wanted to study internal medicine. When I qualified in 1984, did internship in 1985. But I couldn't get a post to study internal medicine. So I was forced to go into private practice. And I moved from Durban to Maritzburg in the same week as the Afrikaner guy came to Maritzburg. He wanted some meat, he went to the butcher, but he needed a doctor. The butcher was my neighbor. And the relationship started. And whilst treating him, he said, you need to go to Turkey. That was in 1986. And I said, why? He said, you need to be the spiritual teacher. I met him in America. So I said, Mullah, it's 1986. I haven't seen Cape Town yet. I haven't seen Cape Town in 1986. I hadn't seen Cape Town up till that point. But I said, how am I going to get to Turkey? I said, the message is spiritual. He said, what God wills happens. There's a time and a place. Never be hurried in life. There's a time and a place for something to happen. And I was there in 91, and in 92 the instruction came. The teacher spoke in fluent Turkish. I don't understand a word of Turkish. But I understood every single word that the teacher said. And I asked him, how is it possible? When other people speak Turkish, I don't understand. And when you speak Turkish, I understand. He said, my son, when the hearts connect and the souls connect, the words become understandable. I asked him, you've given me this instruction. What am I supposed to do? I'm a doctor in a place called Pietermaritzburg in South Africa. I have 3 surgeries. When am I supposed to do what you asked me to do? Is this after hours, weekends, public holidays, school holidays? When? He told me one line. You will know. For 30 years, I do know. What to do, how to do, when to do, what not to do. What you see happening is the power of that teaching that's come through. It comes through you and you know what to do. Our work is disaster intervention. And people like you are key for disaster intervention. People don't know the sacrifices we make, the trauma you go to, the families you leave behind. Everybody says the policeman is a crook. Every policeman is not a crook. A policeman died last week. Neither is every government official a crook. We can't generalize. There are good people in our government. There are good people in our police services. There are good people in our civil servants. Even in the corporate world, there's corrupt people. Even in religious circles, there's corrupt people. There's corrupt people everywhere. In charity work, there's corrupt people. In traditional leaders, there's corrupt people. We have bad people everywhere. And the spiritual teacher said, the one or two bad behavior of one or two people doesn't taint the entire nation, the entire group, the entire country, the entire religion. All of us have value. And what did he teach? He said when a person has one or two bad things, don't harp on the bad things. Look for the good things in the person. And when you keep saying the good things in that person, the good grows inside that person and the bad leaves. Coming back to the story of the policeman. Last week, I was there in Virginia Airport. And as I was there, the police and the disaster people came in very somber. A police lady had dived into Henley Dam in my town, got sucked in, and she died, a diver. Trying to retrieve a body for somebody else so some other person could get closure in finding the body. She's got small children. And on the day that they went home to the house, they didn't know that the mother had passed on. Nobody had told the kids that. They didn't know how to break the story. And one of those children is in the school where my wife is doing internship as a counseling psychologist. And she's going to now engage that child. The other people who are not here, are not people, but who's not represented here, is the dog. Our dogs serve us with distinction. This dog, we have to learn from the dog, loyalty from the dog. The dog was too old in the police service. He shouldn't be dead that day. He couldn't even see properly. But instinctively, he knew the master was in the water, and the dog jumped in the water to save the master. The dog also drowned. We need that kind of loyalty to learn from the animal. We need that kind of distinction and dedication. You will have seen people die from COVID in front of you. When there was no oxygen, you put them in the ambulance and you drove for hours till you found a bed in the hospital. You took oxygen manually and you gave them. You were like God to the people. Your service is not unnoticed. Even if man does not notice, he above takes notice. And what is better than he above takes notice? Paramedics get shot in the townships, but more paramedics come forward. You still take the risk. You still go. This is Ramadan. It's the month of fasting. But what is the essence of fasting? What is the essence of Ramadan? What is the essence of religion? Is it prayer? No. Prayer has an essence also. It's a means to an end. Every single thing, every single act has one end goal. It's service. It's about service to man, to animal, to creation. And when you do service, that is the highest form of prayer. And this is what we honor. When you serve your distinction in government, it's prayer. When you serve people the way the imams do, it is prayer. When the police serve, when the defense force serve, when the paramedics serve, when the nurses serve, it is prayer. And we salute all of you. And I'll just give you one last example before this man comes and stands here to stop. When we go overseas, we had a prayer at ICC for the water for KZN. People from different religions came. They stood with harmony next to each other. And this is what our country needs. This is a microcosm of what our country needs. This country, sorry, Mr. Mayor, does not belong to the government. The country belongs to us. 60 million of us own this country. The government included. All of us own this country together. So if it is your own house, and your own business, and your own prayer place, you will look after it with your life. We need to look after this country with our life. And we need 4 valuable principles, whether we government, whether we corporate, whether we religious leaders, whether we tribal leaders, whether we community leaders, whether we political parties, whether we are just ordinary citizens or professionals. We need 4 principles to fix this country. We don't need money to fix this country. We need these 4 principles. Spirituality, morality, values, and ethics. You fix that, you fix the country. You'll have surplus of money overflowing because you do things the right way, you do things in the honest way, you do things with integrity. And the moment you do that, in Islam we say it's barakah, blessing, bounties in abundance. 1 rand becomes 5 rand and 5 rand becomes 50 rand. It's blessings in terms of money, in terms of character, in terms of behavior, in terms of response from the Lord Almighty. And so the priests had all got together, and there was such harmony. And we need that harmony in our country because it belongs to us. And finally, when we go overseas, I'll give you an example. We went to Syria. When we got there, we crossed the river illegally to enter the country. We built a hospital and we took medical teams in. The bombs are falling over the hospital, near the hospital, and hitting them out, and even the place where medical personnel stayed. Now the beauty of South Africans. 2 examples I'll give you. One in Syria and one in Haiti, and then I finish off. After we worked for the first 48 hours, a father and a mother runs into the casualty, the outpatient area. We take the child, 7-year-old child. We take the child into that casualty area. The mother waits outside, the father wants to come in. The nurse says no. Then somebody says no. Allow the father in. The mother doesn't want to come in. The father comes in. All my emergency medicine doctors come on the bed. From the head, body is 8 or 9 people on the child. As they're sitting, looking at, he's trying to work on the child. The father is sitting at the foot of the bed, this way. The child's legs are that way. The father is taking his hands and is wiping rubbing the shins of his child, 7-year-old child, and rubbing the feet, and the chairs are coming down. The medical guys are watching this. And after 15 minutes, the medical team says, the child didn't make it. The father quietly walks out. The mother sitting in the emergency room. She sees the father and he says, and she gives a shrieking cry and drops to the floor. The entire hospital comes to a standstill. 70 medical personnel became totally immobilized from the pain of this mother. These are the pains that you guys deal with. These are the pains that you guys give hope to. These are the hope that you bring to people in what you do. And they pick the mother up and they ask, what happened? The people who were resisting in the revolution are not fighters. The man was a farmer. He was cleaning a gun that he doesn't know how to clean. And he pointed it at his son while he was cleaning it. He shot his own son. He was responsible for killing his own child. He's going to live with that for the rest of his life. People, and those that we save will make a difference. And you make the difference. Police, defense force, paramedics, all of you, nurses. Remember, when you save life, you save one life, save the whole of mankind. Be the best at what you do. It must be about passion. It must be about service. No slapdash work. You're dealing with human dignity. I'll leave out the other story. I'm going to say one final thing. It's the third final thing. Yeah. You're listening too much to the story. Would somebody like to take him away and lock him up too? I've got stories I'm going to say now. It slipped my mind. No, I'm not going to tell another one. Okay, the Haiti one, this one's repeat. Hopefully it'll come back. The audience is going to complain. It was in Haiti that we sent a mixed team. It was a very spiritual message. Day 8, 20th January 2010. The paramedics, the surgery teams are in the rubble. And suddenly, on that morning, I tell my team leader, you're going to find somebody alive. A message comes to me, I don't know why. 8 days after the earthquake, the paramedics get into the rubble. He phones me, he said, we can hear sounds. And 3 hours later, 8 days after the earthquake, they pull out 64-year-old Azizi in the Catholic church that collapsed. Bring her out alive. And the first words Azizi says, I love God. 8 days later, you instill hope and faith in a person several thousand kilometers away. And that's why we keep doing this job all the time. And then she says, I love you. But it was more than that. It was a world first for Africa. Never before in the history of the African continent has any team from Africa taken anybody alive out of the rubble in an earthquake outside the African continent. The South African team was first. And the South African team are people like you that have come from these universities, these institutions, this country. We all stand tall together. Ladies and gentlemen, AMRS, police services, defense force, nurses, paramedics, you got a great job, a job of service, doctors, a job of prayer. May God bless all of you, protect all of you, and let us work together in the interest of our country and the world. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor and the President of the MGC, you might have noticed I did not stand up. For who dares to stand up in the face of such humility? Who dares to stand up whilst a hero is speaking? Who dares to remind him of time? And so we let him speak. For he can't speak. You know why he can't speak? Just because he did, because he has done, because he undertook, because he has committed. And whoever standing behind me, usually the devil comes from the left side. Immediately, and we'll thank Dr. Sooliman, immediately we are going to ask our men folk to join us in the center. We're going to have the Thikr. In a few minutes, we will break for Maghrib. But there is still time left. We are immediately going to make the Thikr, and we're going to ask all the uniformed servicemen to join us on the centerpiece for the Thikr, to Mr. Lewis, Mr. Hill-Lewis, and our non-Muslim friends. So Thikr means singing and chanting the praises of God, of Allah, in a certain tune. And so immediately we are going to do that. That will lead us up to Maghrib Salah. Maghrib means the sunset prayer. We will then break our fast. And I want to emphasize, we are not going to sit or be seated separately from one another. The Muslim needs to be seated next to the non-Muslims. We are going to break bread together. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Immediately we're going to ask the ulama of the Imaamat Council of the Athlone region to start with the dhikr, and immediately we're also going to ask everyone else to join in. Shukran kathiran. I will bid you wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just a reminder to the staff members and the journalists from the elders, please, your interviews can be done with Mulana Abdul Khalik Ali. We sitting on seated on my right for any interviews you may want. And also the person holding the camera is Sheikh Zaid Dante, who is the Secretary General of the MGC, for any interviews you may want to do. Thank you very much. Bismillah.
صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم انا نسالك يا فعل الخيرات وترك المنكرات والمساكين وان تقبلنا محمدا واذا الفتنه في القوم فاقبلنا يا الله غير المفتونين. ان الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا ايها الذين امنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. سلم بفضلك دعوه يا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك السلام. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق ناصر الحق بالحق إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله وأصحابه حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد الخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله وأصحابه حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله الحمد لله مستعملا لم يلد ولم يولد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله الحمد لله لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا احد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله الحمد لله
يلد ولم يولد يكن له كفوا لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس لا إله إلا الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون الذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك والآخرة هم أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم مفلحون. وإلهكم إله واحد الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الذي يشفع عنده يعلم بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض ويغفر لمن يشاء والرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه المؤمنون يقولون آمنا بالله وملائكته لها ما كسبت وعليها ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما
صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We say Jazakallah khairan to our Dhikr Jamaat, in as much as we love the beautiful voices and the chanting of the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God Almighty, chanting praises to Allah, to God Almighty, in as much as we like this. The time has now come for us in the next 1.5 minutes. It's time to break the fast. And to our non-Muslim visitors and friends and attendees, or attendance, the tradition and the prophetic tradition is to break the fast with events. And as you can imagine, an event of this magnitude, so far we've had no hiccups, but always it is just, I suppose, Murphy's law, there will be a hiccup. The dates due to good reason has been delayed. In fact, it has just arrived in the nick of time. He came running in and said, we need to ask that the date must be given to each and everyone. We need to sit together and break fast. Everyone has been handed water. The Oh Allah, for you I have fasted, وَبِكَ آمَنْتُ, and in you do I believe, وَعَلَى رِزْقِكَ أَفْطَرْتُ, and upon what you have divided do I break my fast. Bismillah وَعَلَى بَرَكَةِ اللَّهِ, in the name of Allah and with the blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how we break our fast. That is to our non-Muslim friends. And then we have some water. Thereafter immediately you can proceed for ladies. And for the gentlemen, there are sufficient food for everyone. So there are some delicacies that have been prepared, and then we will then announce as time goes on. We will announce the rest of how the proceedings will continue. Within the next minute, and I think it's the next probably 40 seconds, I have my water. So yes, we are just waiting on the few seconds, and it is a matter of seconds, and then we will break our fast. While we are waiting for that to happen, you will never believe that the presence of many, but especially so the presence of the Imtiaz that stands out, is on the dua. And Imtiaz, I want to tell you this. It was the dua of one of the past members last year already, that he would love Imtiaz to be present. This year again, it was our same dua. It was still to us that unfortunately, because of the happenings we face again, you will not be able to make it. This morning we heard that you are equipped on the ICC, and we asked Allah, and Allah granted us the presence. I want to tell you that our presence tonight and today is because of dua. We want to tell you that. I think it is now time. Can anyone indicate me what time is Maghrib tonight? Is it 7 o'clock or 5 past 7? What time? 13 minutes past. Inshallah, the adhan will be read now. You may break your fast also with the adhan goes. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة